All right. Another episode of the podcast here, man. Always love having student athletes on. I'm obviously I've had a couple student athletes from your school on, which is it's always great to talk to you guys. Just an overall great program that you guys got out there. And with you, man, like you look at the cross country season last season, and it was good. It was good, really respectable. Obviously, 15:46 PR out there. But then you look at that track season, man, and you just like came alive this track season. Really throwing out a statement as like, yeah, honestly, one of the better milers in the state this year. But before we get into all that, because I'm really curious about how all that kind of went out, dude. Hobbies, like what kind of outside of running are you into?
Say recently, at least in the summer, because I've had a little bit more free time on my hands, I've really been hanging out with my friends a lot, kind of like getting into thrifting a little bit. I've really enjoyed that. I also just like, going to the beach, hanging out. I've been playing a lot of pickleball and spike ball. Just love to be active. Just love to, meet new people, and I'm a pretty social guy, so just love to, hang out with people outside of running. And I always obviously love running with people.
Yeah, man. Pickleball has been like the thing that has come up on the podcast quite a bit. And I was telling the other day on it, like I've never played. I've never played. It looks intense. It looks fun, but it looks intense as heck to kind of learn.
Yeah,
Um, definitely
definitely
need.
gotten. Yeah, yeah, it's definitely gotten more serious. I feel like everyone I know that plays it now, it's like they take it way more seriously than I think it should be taken. But you know,
Yeah, there's got to be like a league or something out there, like a sports league for pickleball and whatnot. But yeah, it's like really evolved over the years. How'd you get started in running? How'd all that kind of happen?
yeah. So it's kind of a complicated thing because I would say I kind of really started running freshman year. So in middle school, I went to I didn't go to a public school. I went to like this small charter school that was like gender separated, pretty small, and we had a cross country team. But the thing was, is it was only one practice a week, and the races would only be like 2 miles. And like the practices, we would literally play kickball and stuff. So my dad ended up taking me to that, and a lot of my friends did it, and I had a lot of fun. But I mean, I was running like 16 minutes for the 2 miles. Like I was not running fast. I No one was taking it seriously. It was just kind of a fun thing that we did. So I wasn't. I mean, I probably ran 20 miles my entire middle school career, leading up to high school. So I would say I really started running freshman year. Um, my dad kind of was just like, you need to find a sport to do, and I didn't really want to run honestly, but I kind of got thrown into it. He's like, let's go. We're getting in the car. Bring your water bottle. I had no idea where I was going. And then I ended up showing up to practice. I hated it for the first few weeks, but then a lot of the guys, kind of were very welcoming, and pretty quickly, I mean, I was like okay freshman year, but then like towards the end, I started to get a little bit better, and then through track season freshman year, I kind of started progressing, and I was like, okay, I want to be serious about this now. So I would say that's kind of.
Yeah, that's the first. But no, I think like cross country teams in general, though, too. I don't want to say there's like I don't want to speak for every team because you know, God knows I know a lot of teams and they're not always like this. But cross country does seem to typically be very, very welcoming when it comes to just teams and friends and kind of how it all develops. So that's cool. That's really cool that eventually you kind of grew to love it and whatnot and stuck with it and just give up after a week. Want to talk about cross country last season? Sub 16. Kudos to you, man. Congratulations on that. Just, I mean, right off the get go, like that's a huge accomplishment. There's a lot of guys that are always searching for that sub 16 performance. It really puts you into like a new kind of category when it comes to like high school running. Sub 16, just even 15:59 is kind of that first step. I think once you get kind of 15:30, 15:20, it kind of starts getting a little bit more up there. And obviously then 15:10 and below, and you're, national kind of elite guys and whatnot. But 15:46 with the PR. Um, did you notice like any like changes? Because I know you mentioned like obviously the middle school days were really nothing. Um, but then that freshman year, obviously started to pick up and to nowadays. Did you notice like summer training was different? Like, was your approach different to this past season, or kind of walk me through that one?
Yeah, so I would say like freshman year, I was obviously the least serious, and I guess I've progressed in like how serious I've taken the sport since like I've started. But freshman year cross country, I mean, I showed up to practice, I ran at practice, not really taking it seriously outside of that. I kind of just had fun racing, whatever. Then freshman year track, I started to run a little bit outside of practice. I kind of was like, okay, maybe I like this, but I mean, I was still only running like 30 miles a week, so I wasn't like taking it insanely serious. And then sophomore year, or like leading up to sophomore year summer, I was like, okay, I want to like be good at this. So then I like decided to start training seriously, and I definitely had a lot of road bumps and like was learning and stuff. But I feel like sophomore year, specifically track, probably because I mean I had a good cross country season sophomore year, like comparatively, but it wasn't like I felt like I was really like up to a certain level once I like sophomore year track because I was like, sometimes competing in the front at some of the meets and like I kind of just was like competing with the top guys in the state. For the most part, like obviously I was still a lot slower than some of the people in the state, but like most of the local competition I was starting to beat, so I thought that was pretty cool. Um, but yeah, I've definitely like recently, like even in cross country last year, I felt like I I was kind of naive to a lot of things in training. I think there was a lot to learn, and I definitely made a lot of mistakes. I think I didn't have the greatest cross country season compared to my track season, just because I think I just had a lot I had to learn and through experience. So I definitely have taken training seriously though over the past year. I mean, I run every day, kind of thing. It's all just discipline. Over years, you'll eventually just when you keep stacking up the consistent weeks over time, that's going to do dividends for you. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you mentioned obviously, yeah, consistency, man, and discipline. Um, because like those are the easy parts too. Or the easy parts. It's really easy to do, but it's hard to do at the same time because it's just especially in the summer months when you want to sleep in and getting out of bed and getting the runs in is it's tough. But like you said, like when you add it all up together, then you get to the season and you're prepared and you're ready to go. And um, versus just kind of starting off into it and then you're like, oh my gosh, like you got to kind of play catch up a lot. States last year. Um, I mean, a great finish, man. 12th, obviously. How when you go into a race like that too, with states just being so pressure and tactics and whatnot. Did you have any kind of game plan going into that, or is it still kind of just like just want to see what happens and kind of maneuver? Because I mean, it seems like everybody hates Newberry to an extent, and I mean it's a tough course.
I'm not a fan of it. Honestly, okay, so the summer leading up to my junior year, I would say this summer, I've had a lot better of a summer, gotten up earlier, stayed more diligent. I feel like last summer, a lot of what would happen is I would just be lazy. I would sleep in. I wouldn't run as many miles because it was in the heat. So I just felt like there were things that I was just kind of slacking on. And then I think 2 weeks before eye opener, I got injured and I had to cross train for like 2 weeks, so that was not ideal. And then I was on antibiotics like 4 times during the season, which definitely an aspect of like how my races played out, but I also think it was just due to my training. So going into state, like I really had nothing to lose. I think I was projected to get like sixth or seventh, and I didn't really know like what I could do, but I went out super hot. I wasn't disappointed with my state performance. The time wasn't great, but I went for it, and I mean that's all you can do really. That's what all my friends told me to do. They're like, you have nothing to lose. Like if you get fifth or 12th, like it doesn't really matter. Like just try to place the best you can do. So we went out like 250 for the first K, and I just absolutely died at the end. But I honestly like looking back, I don't really regret it. I think the goal was for me to just try to go out with the leaders, and I tried to for as long as I could, and then it was very windy on that day, and I just ended up, you know, it wasn't my day. But I'm still like I'm not trying to think about it too much. It was definitely not my finest moment, but I'm still proud of myself for trying to go for that. So
Yeah, no. Hey, I mean, I will say this. I don't know if I would be trying um, anything crazy at the state meet, but I mean, like you said, dude, you got to send it. Just full send that. Um, and I mean, what's gonna happen? Obviously, yeah, you die out a little bit, but I mean, 12th is still a great finish, and I mean, what if? You never know. I always tell runners all the time, like, today could be your day. Any day could be your day. I've seen it so many times. I've told this story in the podcast before, but I have a buddy. His team. We're from Florida, and he went up to Great American and ran. And the team goes up there every year. And he was like a 1540 guy, like solid, like really consistent 1540s. You could count on him. He'll do 1540 every week. Uh, Goes up there and runs 1457, and he was the first guy to break 15 since Alan Webb did it. And now obviously you see on the course now is like sub 15, but he's the first guy. He unlocked it again. And yeah, dude, it takes one race. It takes one race, and I always ask him about that because it's such a fascinating story of just you just stick with it, and eventually the race just kind of comes, and that was his race. So
yeah. Another thing I would add probably is it kind of depends. Like when you think about the state meet strategy, it also you kind of have to evaluate where your team's at. For us, there was the top two teams, Philip Simmons and Academic Magnet, and then we were a little bit farther behind them in terms of like skill gap there. So me getting fifth to 12th was not going to affect our team place. We easily had fourth beat out. We knew we were going to get third at the very worst and third at the very best, really, if we're being honest. Like there was a very big gap. So we really were just like, you know what, let's all just send it. And if it doesn't work out, it's all right. Like we're still going to walk home with third. And I mean, this year, we're definitely going to be a little bit more competitive, and I think we can win state. But I just think last year there wasn't a whole lot to lose, and I was just happy to just go for it because you never know what could happen. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, you bring up a great point in that too. Just obviously, yeah, where the team is, definitely could play a role in how conservative or how aggressive you guys are too. Um, so kind of rolling into track season now. Obviously, the I always look at this. Your cross country times, you have an idea in mind of like where you are kind of for track, and even for track times, you gain the speed and whatnot, so it kind of like translate over to cross country. Dude, your track times, man, like they are flying. Like, I mean, huge break. Like you wouldn't expect that from a guy who's running 15 or 15 like 40s mid. I would look at you and be like, okay, you're probably running like 15 range. Um, so like, I mean, kudos to you again for that. Was there anything different this kind of like in between cross country and the track? Was there like new things or what?
would say that I kind of transitioned into a little bit different style training. I started running a lot more mileage and I started being doing a little bit higher volume workouts. So it was a lot of more moderate intensity, so a lot more like threshold tempo type work. But those workouts they were, I guess you could say, easier, but they were harder at the same time because they were, instead of 3 miles in volume, they were 5 or 6 miles in volume, or even seven, like 6 or 7 miles. So like those are a little bit difficult. Like they're definitely like you're not breathing as hard, but I mean that's a long time for you to hold a moderate like intensity pace. So
Yeah.
I kind of started doing that, and I would say there wasn't a whole lot that changed. I think that I was staying healthy. I was, being a little bit more smart in my training. I also just love training in the winter more. I mean, the heat just eats me alive. I don't know what it is, but yeah. So I think that's probably what mainly changed. But yeah,
Again, if, as in like an outside guy looking in, if I had to guess, I mean, I would think you're more comfortable in the 32, but what is kind of your event that you kind of lean towards more?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I do love the 3200, but the reality was I had to run the 4 by 8 every meet, so I never wanted to do the 16 because there wasn't enough time. I mean, the reality is if you want to run the 16, you're doing that an hour and a half, maybe even less sometimes after the 800, and I mean, most of the time, like towards the end of the season, I was splitting like 158, 159. Like that's not easy to, bounce off of a mile or do a mile right after that. Like there's just not enough recovery time. And I really wanted to be able to compete like in the events that I did. So I kind of just chose to do the 32 because I knew that with the aerobic runs and mileage I had been doing that I could, handle that. So
Yeah, in I mean, I get it. I definitely do get it. That's just something that kind of that's why you kind of see a lot of guys too. They'll kind of stick with one event and maybe dabble in another during the season, but they'll primarily just do one. But again, like just I mean, 419 and 920 is flying. Like I know guys that ran I mean slower miles for sure, and ended up running like 15 low 15s. Um, throughout cross country. So it's like, okay, and that's why I say like you take those times and you start translating them over to the cross course. It's like unless you've just been a lazy bag of poo, I mean, you're gonna kill it this cross country season. Absolutely. Um, you look at states, obviously you ran the 32, you got third. Um, happy with that performance, like overall of how it went down, or do you think there was something out there that you wish you would have like kind of did a little bit different?
so States was definitely a big success for me. And we ended up winning the 4 by 8 and 750, so that was really nice. I was really happy with that. You know, coming off of that, I mean, we had gotten a gold medal. So like after I won the 4 by 8, I was like, you know what? The 32 is like just a bonus at this point. And I had talked to my coach for several hours trying to figure out should I do the 16 or the 32. Obviously, to qualify, you have to run upper state, and I wasn't going to triple at upper state, so I had to figure out before upper state, am I going to do the 16 or the 32? So after a lot of consideration, and I thought I had the best chance to go for the win in the 32, just because of the recovery time, also in the mile, Knox Eaton 150 guy. I mean, I just knew he was going to sit on me if I ran the mile, and I was just going to get out kicked, and I was like, I think I have an even chance to win the 32. So going into the 32, I think I was definitely happy with my time, but I was completely dead. We went out in like a 2:17 for the first 800. It was super hot. Um, and pretty much what happened was I just kind of I I was like at that point I was far behind. For some reason everyone went out how hot. I think I was in like fifth with still 6 laps to go. And then I kind of slowly like moved up in the pack, but then the two leaders they kind of were just like a little bit too far ahead of me, and I ended up. I think you had Brennan on the podcast. Me and him. It was basically just me and him for the last 3 laps, and I was lucky enough to edge him out at the end. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. I was definitely like I was so tired from the. I had never felt that much like weakness from like the 800 before. I think it was just because I wasn't used to running that fast that much. I just didn't do it that much. So and I don't really train the 800, so it really took a lot out of me. And I felt weak the entire race, but then I crossed the line. And I was like, wow, I just PR'd by like point 0.5 seconds. I'll take it. I mean, for state, the day wasn't. I mean, not. I mean, there weren't many guys who PR'd at that race, so I was really happy with the placement. And I mean, third, it is kind of frustrating because I didn't like win or anything, but I ended up coming home with a medal, which is really cool. Like, if you get fourth, you get a ribbon, but I was happy I got something out of it. So
Yeah, no, man, and that's why I say too. It's like you, when you look at cross, and then you look at that, just like I mean the leap, man. You just had such a huge leap in track. Third, I think, yeah, dude, I'd be happy with it. And then obviously you come into the next season um, with the target on your back, honestly. And the thing is too, though, you look at like if you pull up rankings and whatnot, and we'll talk about that in a second. Nobody. I mean, you're up there still, but like you're not the guy. And when you look at track, you're like, oh, like, dude, this he could be the guy. Like you're up there now. You really are. Which is kind of nice though, because you're kind of a dark horse, man. Like nobody really knows. Like, I mean, they know you, but obviously because from the third and the 32. But that's why I say like cross country is gonna be so interesting to see how it all kind of turns out. Postseason, you did run at Running Lane, and you walked away with two PRs, which is like probably the only person ever. Even though it's like a really great event, it seems like maybe you can get one in one event, but you were able to double and actually get two PRs in both events. I've seen it completely the other way where we had somebody on and she tripled and didn't PR, which is it's fine, you know, because obviously you go for the experience and whatnot. But just to PR uh, in two events is so, you know, it's great. Um, the whole experience running lane, was that kind of on the calendar in the season, or was that just it was towards the end? And you're like, hey, why not?
Yeah, I'll be honest, like I did it sophomore year and it wasn't on the calendar at that point, but junior year, like maybe this is bad that I look at it this way, but I literally look at running lane as I'm gonna get my PRs there because I feel like the environment, the pace lights, like you don't have to run like I just knew that I was gonna have to double or triple at every meet during the season, and I was like, I'm probably not going to finish my regular high school season with the PRs that I think I can run. And I feel like I kind of showcased that at running lane. Like I knew I was going to PR. Like I was like in the 32, I had never run a fresh 32 that entire season. And I was like, okay, that should be, pretty good. I will say though, the 7 hour drive that day from school with my final exams to Alabama and then running a 32 30 minutes after I got there, it was definitely not what I thought. But I was really happy with it. Like, even in the mile, I mean, I had a slight PR there, and I think I could have run a little bit faster, but I was happy that I was able to come back the next day with a little bit janky legs and still, run a pretty good time. So I was really happy with that. I really wanted to get under 420, so I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, the drive is the only thing that has like kind of turned me away in a bit. But then I've had so many student athletes on here, and they've gone to running lane. I'm like, wow, okay, like maybe I'm just a wuss right now because everybody's making the drive down there, which I think I don't know. Maybe this next season, definitely pulled the trigger on it. I've only heard good things about it, and you bring up the pace lights and everything, and um, just the whole atmosphere too, with people on the track, both sides and whatnot, and uh, obviously when some of the heats racing under the lights too. Um, like that honestly seems like one of the premier kind of postseason events. I know obviously Adidas and Nike still kind of have and New Balance have that kind of aura around them, but I mean, if you were just talking about experience wise too, man, like yeah, running lane is definitely the way to go. You mentioned you want to go sub 420. Was there a goal for the 2 mile, or was the 920 pretty solid on that point?
I mean, I would say I was definitely a little bit underwhelmed with the 32 just because of the field. Everyone went out like 4:37, and I think I was like a little bit behind them. And then literally everyone died, and I ended up winning by like 5 seconds, which I was happy with, but like, I don't really care about winning a heat at running lane. Like, I just want to run fast, and I wish I would have, because some people put in like a slightly faster time than they ran, and they usually don't like bat an eye, they just let you go. And I was kind of I was like maybe I should have put in a little bit of faster time, but I don't know, I just like maybe I was thinking about the integrity too much, but I was a little disappointed. I wish I had a couple more people to run with there at the end, but I was pretty happy with it. The only thing I was slightly mad about was that I didn't get under 920, just because I hate like getting stuck at a barrier. But I mean, I think I'll get it next season, so I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it.
Yeah, that's funny. Always the integrity portion of it. I'm the same way, man. Like, let's be honest. Come on, like everybody just be honest about the times, and let's race it true. And it's like, oh man, and then yeah, you see that. You'll see guys that'll put slightly faster, and then they'll die out, and you're like, what the heck, man? But um, I agree with you though too. Like honestly, I don't mind getting my butt kicked at running lane as long as I get a PR. Like call it a day. So cross country 25 now. Again, obviously a great season on the track, and obviously, stepping stones from last cross country season. You are a sub 16 guy. You're ranked 14th in all classifications combined, so that's a great kind of starting point. First off, do you look at rankings or don't really care?
Country, I, it's not competent in my opinion. I just think that with everything, first of all, like a lot of people had different track seasons than cross country seasons, like in terms of like where they were in placements and stuff. And I think, I mean, every track is 400 meters. Not every cross country course is 5,000 meters, and I think everyone knows that. So I would definitely say like I'm kind of looking at the rankings, but I'm not really too worried about it. I mean, in track, I definitely did not expect to have that good of a season. Like, it was just shocking, like how much I had improved. So I'm really like grateful for that. But like in terms of cross country, like I'm just ready to go out there and compete. Like I'm not looking at, oh, this person's better than me. Like everyone's got a clean slate now. Like I'm just as willing to do it to like compete with other people. So I don't know. I feel like I can compete with anyone right now. I definitely think I'm not saying I'm like a top five guy in the state or anything, but I think that I can surprise some people at the beginning of the season. So we'll see.
Yeah, man. I mean, I agree. I agree with you. Especially rankings right now. Any type of rankings that ever come out right now is just going to be completely off. Um, I tried looking at some, but that's how I like kind of like started following you a bit, man, because I started noticing like the track stuff, and sometimes you got to go back. I mean, there's a couple guys that ran 16 minutes last year, and they had really good track seasons, and I'm like, dude, you wouldn't know unless really, unless you're like me, and I started diving in to everybody. But and like I mentioned with my buddy there at Great American, like you never know. Yeah, though I think definitely, hey, yeah, first couple meets of the year, I think everybody's gonna know your name pretty quick. Summer training, how is that going?
Yeah, so it's going pretty well. Definitely, I had one big workout before. I guess so. I my first race is in 15 days, so that's going to be WNC. So we're coming up close on it. I got school on Monday. Everything's coming in fast, but my training's gone really well. I've been getting up to like 60. I might hit 65 this week, so I'm kind of really starting to dial in lifting as well. So I'm trying to just try to slightly improve myself in every aspect. I feel like the little things is kind of what I'm trying to focus on right now, so that I can have that edge over people. Because I think that the top competition, it's really tight now. South Carolina's improving a lot, so you have to do things that are not going to be always fun, but I think you kind of need to do them if you want to be some of the best guys, I think. In terms of the rankings again, like I would say I see myself around like 9 or 10, but I just want to. Everyone gets a fair chance. Like we'll see what happens in the races. I don't want to say anything and then not back it up. I just want to go out there and race. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, speak into existence too. You never know, but no, I respect that too. So saying any goals out loud or not today?
I'll say okay. Honestly, like the main goal for me is to win as a team. Like I do not care about anything more than winning as a team. Like I've run with these guys for so long, and this is my last like this is my last cross country season. Like it's gonna be emotional, and I just want to win with my friends that I've been friends with for 4 years. Like I want to go out there and show them that we can do this. I think everyone on my team has been really locked in, so I think that it's going to be really tight. I think it's us and Philip Simmons are like within 6 points of each other on the rankings. Like that is extremely close. We can't leave any room for it. Like we've got to really dial in, but I think that that's the most important thing to me. In terms of time goals, I don't really have a time goal just because I don't know what courses. We haven't even gotten our meet schedule finalized yet, so I don't even know. I know I'm doing WNC, which is going to be a very difficult course, and then Eye Opener the next week. So those are the two first races. Mainly, I'm setting my eyes on Eye Opener, and I I just want to place well. Like I want to be able to get top 10 at every meet that I do. I would say like most of the meets that we're doing are within state. The only race that I would say I probably wouldn't get top 10 in is if we do Adidas at Wake Med. I mean, that loaded with competition. You probably have to run sub 15 to do that. So I don't know about that, but for the most part, I want to be at the lead pack of every race. And then I guess in terms of time, if I had to set a time, probably somewhere in the 15:10s. I think is pretty realistic. Definitely would be a good season for me as I'm not as much of a cross country guy, but I think I can, flip the script a little bit this season. So
No, for sure, man. Hey, if we're at 15:10s, man, we're knocking on. We're just gonna get those next 10 seconds and go sub 15s. Heck yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate you coming on. Obviously, you sound super confident, which is great. Not cocky about it either. Saying all the right things, man. That I think, if you do want to run in college, like definitely college coaches would be excited to hear from an athlete like yourself. Um, yeah, man. Like I said, wish you the best of luck, and definitely throughout the season we'll be at Eye Opener, so we'll be capturing that action. And yeah, man, definitely look forward to seeing what goes on.